We be live. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi. Oh, look, Mars is back. Mars, where have you been? We missed you here. Higgs boson is here. D is here. Hi, everyone. Guys, we're gonna be answering Patreon questions, and today we got a ton of Patreon questions. Jesus Christ. I don't know. We have to go through them fast. Again, if you want us to answer your questions, become a patron. Link in the description. We answer your questions. And after we answer the Patreon questions, I will talk to YouTube members if they wish to come live up on air. So once the Patreon questions is done, I will post a link on the community tab of the channel in a way that only YouTube members can see, and they will be able to click on the link and come up here and talk to me live on air. Okay, so patrons get to post their questions on Patreon. I will answer them. YouTube members get to come up and talk to us live on air. All right, we have to get started because we have the best question here. Why is Susanna so cute?
Oh,
That's not a Patreon
thank
question, that's
you.
a
That's so
Facebook question,
sweet.
but I needed to highlight that. Okay, that's well, answer it. What are you doing? Answer the question.
I don't know.
Okay, Asian
Just
American.
panic.
Yeah, you think we're just being nice? This is a genuine question. Why are you not taking it seriously, Susie? Right.
Okay, so let's get into our Patreon questions. I think I'm going to go straight to this question from D because you were talking to me about it before the show, and I was like, so let's dive into it. This is probably the most important news that we're going to have in a while. D is asking, can you explain why the parliament was stormed in Iraq?
I just saw this. I just came before going live on air. I was telling Susie, did you see what's happening in Iraq? And Susie was like, no. Okay, guys, they stormed the parliament in Iraq. This is not Shia versus Sunni. Okay, this is Shia versus Shia. Okay, this is Shia versus Shia. The Shia, and this is significant because this is Shia pro-Iran Shia versus can you stop meddling in our country, Iran? Thank you very much, and let us have our own country, Iran. Thank you very much, Shia. Okay,
Yeah,
this is Muqtada.
pro-Iraqi sovereignty Shia.
Yes, hey, can Iraq please not be just a province of Iran? Thank you very much. Can we please have our own country? That's the people who stormed the parliament, because ever since the elections, so we had elections. When was the elections? It seems like ages ago. Okay,
October
but
of last year, and there still
yeah,
hasn't been a government.
no government in Iraq, because the pro-Iranian parties and fractions were so frustrated with the results, because they know that Iraqi people want to have their own country without Iranian meddling. Okay, and the elections show that Muqtada al-Sadr, who's the Shia, who used to be on the Iranian side because he's Shia, but now he's the leader of the main leader, the Shia leader that is trying to get separated from all of this Iranian influence in Iraq. He got the most of the votes, and all the parties that were more pro-Iranian were just they lost a lot of seats, a lot of influence, right? But the problem is that in Iraq, the pro-Iranian sects lost a lot of political power, but they still have a lot of military power, because they still have a lot of militia groups in Iraq which are loyal to Tehran, the mullahs in Tehran, and they have a lot of weapons. So they're like, well, we're not going to let this happen. They're basically not happy with the results, so they're not letting the government form, and they've been successful at not letting the government form. There might be actually, because of all of these delays, there might be another election, okay, or civil war. We don't know, because the people. Okay, so Nouri al-Maliki apparently came up with a tweet. I haven't even seen the picture of himself with in military gear, ready to go and shoot down. Okay, I'm not gonna say this.
Yeesh.
To do something to the people that just stormed the parliament. Do I have that picture? Okay, you talk. What do you think about all of this while I find this?
I just know that it's gonna be good when Armin's doing this pose, when he's doing this while doing the breakdown. This is how you. I don't know. I just love to see you in the zone like that. It's so much fun. Yeah.
This is guys. This is all.
This is absolutely wild.
this is all just like breaking news. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
okay.
I know I
Oh
don't
my
have
God,
anything
what
really
is
to
this?
respond to yet because it's so
It's
evolving or
wild.
breaking so quickly.
Okay, what am I looking at? Nuria after this. Okay, so guys, I'm gonna show this to you, but to make you understand, there's the Al Sadarist part, which is like the Al Sadr is the guy, the mullah that is trying to make Iraq independent from Iran, and also all these militia groups that are pro-Iranian. He's trying to get them to put their guns down. Okay, he's trying to make Iraq an actually sovereign country, for once, after Saddam. And Nouri al-Maliki just recently had some audio tape leaked of him showing that he's very much against al-Sadr, like from early on.
Well, that's
So much
right.
so much so that he wanted to like go into civil war with him, right? And this was a bombshell in Iraq, okay? Not like the usual bombshells, but a figurative bombshell, right? So,
Oh, come on, man.
no, but like this could lead into a lot of violence. Like this is Iraq we're talking about, right? Usually we had like Sunni versus Shia violence. This could break down everything if we have Shia versus Shia violence, right? But let me see. By the way, guys, this is all like I don't know when we're gonna cut this part out, but for us, when at the time of recording, this is all breaking news, right? So let me see what I'm looking at. I don't even know what I'm looking at because we're discovering this as we go, right? It says Nouri al-Maliki after the Sadarist protesters withdrew from the green zone. Maybe that the al-Maliki wants to show Muqtada al-Sadr that he's ready for fight. So he's like this is former prime minister of Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like in the street holding I don't know what. I don't know my guns. But this is a gun. I
It's
know
some
that
sort
I
of
don't.
assault rifle.
Okay. But like he's holding like what are you doing? He himself is like okay. This is crazy. This is crazy. Like Al-Maliki versus Al-Sadr and these are all Shias, okay? So this is more about Iran than religious differences, okay? Well, I mean, it is still about religion because um you know the whole idea of if you're Shia, if the Shia parts of the Middle East belongs to Iran is being challenged here. You know what I mean? And not only
Oh
here,
my god.
yeah, okay, because the Shia crescent or the Iranian empire, the imperialism of Iran in the Middle East seems to be coming to an end. Okay, not seems to be. I'm not saying it is. Okay, not just in Iraq, but also in Lebanon and also in Syria. Okay, with
Mm.
Turkey moving in Syria, that's being challenged. Lebanon elections showed that Lebanese people are extremely frustrated with Iranian influence in
Oh
Lebanon,
yeah.
and this is happening in Iraq. So this is like changing really fast in front of our eyes. This is history. Like this, like I don't know if people are fear mongering, but this could be either the beginning of civil war, another civil war in Iraq, hopefully not, or an election, or I don't know what, or just stalemate. But this could be really bad.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I took a lot. I know we have a
No,
lot
no,
of
no,
questions.
this is so good. I really wanted to cover it. We'll have to like do another deep dive on stuff when there's more reporting about like what's actually happening. So let's go to our next patron question. It's from Higgs Boson, and he is asking, what's your opinion on Jordan Peterson's message to Muslims?
It was very condescending. Like I was being offended on behalf of Muslims.
I think a lot of people were, to be honest.
I was like, is he like trying to reach out to Muslims or annoy them as as
Take
much
a
as
dump on
possible?
them, like
And like
talk to them like
because
children.
yeah, if he was obviously trying to take a dunk on them. Wait, what did you say? Dump on them.
Dump.
if he was like purposefully trying to crap on them, I was like, okay, I see what you're doing here. But it came across as like I'm trying to reach out to you, but I don't understand that I'm annoying the hell out of you. That's how it came
That's what's crazy is because, okay, if I was doing an impression of this video, it would be, knock it off, you Sunnis and Shias, just stop fighting, yeah. And the thing is, that's not really an exaggeration of the video. That's like not really an exaggeration. So
Muslim and Shias, just cut it out now. Just cut it out. Like what was that?
Yeah.
And then he was like, hey, maybe reach out to Christians. Or what did he say? Or heaven forbid.
Heaven forbid a Jew.
A Jew. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, like Muslims were like, dude, not cool. Like, why are you talking to us like that? Like, of course the reaction would be, I mean, I know like people wouldn't accept the reaction, but the reaction, Muslims believe like, hey, we're capable of befriending Jewish people. We have a problem with Zionism. I know like it's not for a lot of the groups, that's just a line they use and it's not believable. For some of them it's believable. But again, that is given that that's the narrative. Like he's not aware of the views. Like he comes across as thinking like, obviously if you're a Muslim, you hate Jewish people, right? Like obviously, right? And like that assumption just comes across as so presumptuous. It's just like, I don't know what to say. Oh, and also the idea of the Abrahamic Accords being about putting aside religious differences, like he thinks like, hey, look, Abrahamic Accords, look, Christians and Jews and Muslims can put disagreements aside and work with each other. Like that is the worst example that you could come up with. You're like, the Abrahamic Accord is seen as a major taboo, as the exactly the wrong way of doing this to Muslims who think like to the Muslims who think like we're capable of reaching out to the Jewish people. Abrahamic Accords is the opposite of that. Abrahamic Accords are like, okay, no, you are not only reaching out to non-Jewish people, but Zionists. You're covering up for them, and you are helping them in their crimes, right? They're like, this is exactly the opposite of what we want. This is the opposite of how you reach out to Jewish people. This is not about Muslim and Jewish people. This is about Saudis and Emirati politicians doing the exact opposite of what the Muslims there want. So he basically touched. I think he doesn't understand what the dynamics between the people and the politicians when it comes to Abrahamic Accords, because he touched a sensitive like topic that is like it hits a nerve with a lot of Muslims when it comes to like, because whenever you're like, hey, Muslims, why are you doing these things? Look at what's happening in the Middle East. The reaction is like, oh my God, those are the politicians. We are like Saudi Arabia. It does not represent an actual Islamic country, for example. That's Islamic State. That's what they say, right? That's like, in fact, not only that, I think you will find more Muslims. One thing that unites a lot of Muslims is their hatred for the Saudi regime and the Emirati sheikhs and stuff like
You're
that.
You're not
right?
kidding.
Like, yeah. So like for you to symbolize what they're doing as the gold standard for how a Muslim should be shows like that you're very out of touch. Like, I don't know. So
I thought it was really, what stood out to me a lot in the video was how he kept on characterizing people of the book. And the way he was referencing it, it just seemed like there was, I don't know if he knows that this is a concept in Islam. Ahl Bayt. No, that's people of the house.
Ahl Kitab.
Or if this is like his own way to try to spin on things, because
no. He was definitely referring to the Islamic concept. There's no way that he wasn't. Like, that's obvious. The people of the book is an Islamic term.
Okay. It just seemed like there was such a misunderstanding about like what that relationship actually means and actually entails. Like,
yes, the demi-status. You're talking about the demi-status. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he thinks
but also there's, because he's basically saying, look, we're people of the book. We should all have this affiliation. And in Islam, there is a certain degree to which you're supposed to feel more affiliation to people of the book versus someone who's just a straight up pagan, right? granted, the people from the other books are from a corrupted book.
For
and
people
all that
who don't
stuff.
know, the people of the book just means the Abrahamics, right? So people of the book means Muslims, Christians, and Jews, right?
Mhm.
So in Islam, you have as the people of the book, you have higher status compared to pagans, for example, Zoroastrians or Hindus or Buddhists. They're like lower, but Muslims are the highest. But Christians and Jews have a special status, which are they're below the Muslims, but still higher than other higher status and other, like if you're basically within the Abrahamic family, so you get certain privileges that they don't.
Mm-hmm. I also don't think he realizes how inherently deeply exclusionary that categorization is. Like he's trying to put kind of more of a universalizing message, but this emphasis on the people of the book is actually still establishing a hierarchy of like interfaith relations and like dialogue. And
to be fair to Muslims, okay, that's horrible based on our modern standards, okay, but it was pretty progressive based on that time standards. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
Like compared to the Christian lands, like Jewish people were treated a lot better, like in Islamic lands compared to the Christian lands. So, but yeah, but it's based on our modern standards. The fact that they have a lower status than Muslims and they have to pay taxes that other people don't, and they have to like submit. They can't proselytize. They can't build churches. Like that just seems like not very, accepting or tolerant. But it was very tolerant based on the standards of them. Also, if I were to put my Muslim hat on, I would say like, okay, yes, they have a demi status, but that came with certain privileges that the Muslim didn't get. So, for example, if there was a jihad, the Muslims would have to participate in war, but the Christians and Jews didn't. So you got those privileges as well. So there's that.
But Armin, the most important part was about goes straight into your eternal defense of Enlightenment values in modernism. Is his call to action at the end for togetherness to fight against like the Luciferian degenerates. How can you not touch on that? This is the most important point.
I forgot. Like he's like, hey, let's all work. Let's hold hands. Let's all be together. Let's. This seems like a tolerant kumbaya, holding the hands and singing, and unity message. But unity and friendship and love to hate. Who? Us. Me and Susanna, the people on the side of modernity,
the degenerate progressives,
the liberals, the progressives, and as apparently we're on the army of the devil, apparently, according to people like the people who want who are sex positive, who are pro LGBTQ, who are pro trans rights, who are all sorts of degeneracy. So he's like, let's unite. Let's not hate each other. Let's unite to hate these mofos. That's what he wants. This is and again, it's very interesting because this is what Daniel Hayraju says. Like, hey, like, okay, so Daniel Hayraju didn't like this video at all, okay, because of his.
He issued an apology for ever like promoting Jordan Peterson. It was so funny.
Yeah, but at the same time, the ultimate goal of this video is exactly what Daniel Hayraju wants as well. I know he didn't like the way he put it, and that's why Daniel Hayraju hated it. But at the end of the day, what Jordan Peterson is saying is like, let's put all of us Abrahamics and conservatives and people who are protecting family values and all things wholesome. Let's put these small differences aside and unite and build a giant army of conservatives of all religions and unite against these degenerates who are trying to destroy the fabric of society with their progressive values. That's the whole message. And that's what Daniel Hayraju says as well. So, yeah. Anyways, support degeneracy by liking this video, okay? Because they're united, guys. They're uniting against us. Okay, they're building an army. This channel is a small section of the degeneracy army, and if you're team degeneracy, we need your help. Okay, they are coming for us. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell notification, leave a comment saying team degeneracy.
True.
Okay.
Hashtag team degeneracy.
Hashtag team degeneracy. Hashtag spread corruption in the land. That's a Quranic verse. Okay. Team corruption.
No, Armin. Remember, our new tagline is going to be that when you support us, you're reserving your spot in hell.
Yes.
We need to work on this tagline.
We have to figure out. We have to phrase it better. We'll do it. Like, I have to go back.
Dial it in.
Dial it in. Yeah, exactly. Satan's minion unites. I like it.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Just spreading corruption.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to another question. Here's a question from Higgs Boson, who's asking, in addition to the ex-Muslim movement, how do we get ordinary Muslims comfortable with the idea of idolatry and polytheism and respect for people practicing it? How to make Muslims more shirky? Well, do they have to be shirky themselves or just shirk friendly? You know?
Wait, why do you have to be comfortable with the idea of idolatry? What do you mean by polytheism and respect people practicing it? I don't respect the practice if you're... Is it for fun? Is it jokey? Is it kind of like the Satanic Temple? Or is it serious?
It's like how to get people who have been taught to hate people who they perceive to commit shirk. How do we get them to not have negative and pejorative attitudes about people who are polytheists?
Okay, here's the thing. Shirk means a lot of different things to different Muslims, okay?
Yeah.
Polytheism is the most exclusive small definition of that, right? So you could go full on just Quraishi and be like, shirk just means literally worshipping other idols and nothing else, okay? That would be very convenient for the more tolerant Muslims, okay? Because we're like, okay, it's just that, okay? Nothing else is shirk. And people are like, okay, so you hate the Hindus? Are like, and they will, if they want to be really tolerant, they would be like, they're not really worshiping idols. They're also like, look at Hinduism. They actually are monists. They believe in this Brahman thing. It's just the one thing. And these idols are just for show. They're not really idol worshippers. Okay. So if you want to be a very inclusive Muslim, you could be like, only the Qurayshis, they were polytheists, which is kind of weird because they also said that they worship Allah and these idols are just like a medium, right? So how is that different from what the Hindus are doing? But like you could come up with ways to just be like, be very exclusive in your definition. But the most broadest definition is like beyond just polytheism. Shirk is basically having partners to God, right? So that could be just idols or could be anything, right? Do you like chocolate? Do you like chocolate more than Allah? Okay, there's shirky, okay? Like
getting a little tastes a little bit like shirk.
Yeah, your chocolate tastes like shirk. Like do you like wealth? Do you like wealth? Do you like status? Like are you prioritizing these things over your relationship with God? That's shirk. You're having partners. So basically, you could define that would be a very, very broad definition of shirk that could cover everything. Okay, and that is very convenient for Islam because shirk is the most, the worst sin in Islam, the only unforgivable sin in Islam, and enough to be able to takfir you, enough to claim that you're not actually a Muslim anymore. Which is this is why Ibn Taymiyyah considered Shias not to be like takfir Shias, because like they when they pray, they call upon not Allah, they call upon sometimes like on Ali and Hussein and Fatima, and they like pray, they go kiss the shrines of Imam Reza or like other imams, and Sunnis be like, that looks shirky, that looks like idol worship to me, or dead worship to me. So like a lot of Muslims will say Shias are not technically Muslims because they're doing the thing in Islam that makes you not a Muslim, right? But because that has a very flexible definition, it gives you the opportunity to just change your definitions, like broaden or tighten your definitions of shirk, and decide who is or is not a Muslim accordingly, which is like very convenient. If you want to be tolerant, you could be tolerant. If you want to be very intolerant, then you broaden the definition and exclude a whole bunch of people, right? But how do we? Do we even answer? We didn't even answer the question. How do we do this? We fight Islam, okay? Like, there's no way that you just like, this is all nonsense. This is all fairy tales, and you just give people critical thinking skills and get rid of religion. And here's my solution: end religion. That's my.
Okay, next question is from Gasian American. He's asking, have either of you seen Thor: Love and Thunder? And if so, thoughts? The villain is called a god butcher and desires the genocide or the deicide of all the gods.
Wait, did that come out already? When did that come out? I was looking forward to watching that. Okay.
But we're behind on a couple Marvel movies. Like, we usually watch the Marvel movies together, and we're behind on a few. We need to watch the Miss Marvel one, obviously.
Is that any good?
No, the whole point is that it's Marvel's first Muslim superhero, and so I'm very curious to see how they like try to weave in these Islamic themes or culture into it.
I kind of liked the Islamic theme in Dune. That was pretty nice.
That was cool.
Okay, so do you support genocide on gods, Susie, as Atheist Republic? I don't. I mean,
well, I'm anti-genocide, but gods aren't real, so a genocide against gods wouldn't be harmful.
If they were real, would you support a genocide against gods?
It depends on what the consequences of that would be. I don't know what kind of, like, maybe this is a god that literally holds together the fabric of the universe or something. Like, actually has a function within holding our reality together. Like, if that, who knows what would happen if that god was killed, you know?
Yeah,
like,
okay,
it's not that simple.
Yeah, I think you should. I think you should just hold them on. I think it needs to be a lot more orderly. I think they need to be detained and put on trial. I don't think. Yeah, it's too messy. It's too messy. The consequences. Also, any entity that could commit genocides on gods is just centralizing the power of gods into eventually this thing becoming its own god, right? So I think having multiple gods decentralizes the power of gods, rather than having one entity that would be effectively a god, right? So I think I wouldn't be for the central. If there are gods, I am for the decentralization of power among them. So it would be better. It would be more manageable if we had multiple gods rather than one god. So whoever this god butcher is, it seems like they're just going to replace all the gods if they are successful. Not for that.
Okay, let's go to the next question. Next question is from Gasian American. He's saying, what are your thoughts on trickle-down economics? I have no thoughts on trickle-down economics. I am smooth brain, very happy.
Okay, trickle-down economics is a bad branding for something that could be real if done correctly. Okay, it just sounds so dismissive of people that are not rich. It just sounds like leaving breadcrumbs for people who are poorer. Okay, so it's true that given the right conditions, okay, if you let the market do its things, if it's regulated enough, and if the government makes big corporations and big business people compete with each other rather than them having so much influence within the government that they get to, create semi-monopolies and manipulate the market in their favor, there's a way to get a prosperous economy, not just prosperous for the rich are getting richer, would lead to other people also getting richer, right? Like the more rich people want big companies make money, the more everyone else makes money. Okay, if you have the proper regulations and remove unnecessary restrictions, that will happen. Money will flow from the top to the bottom. Okay, but the problem is that the people who have been saying that have been also promoting policies that works against that, like have been removing too many restrictions, have been not encouraging policies that creates a safe environment for workers, for customers and employees, and also provides opportunities for corporations to manipulate policies in their favor, not in a way that it would encourage more competition, right? And also just the way it was described just sounds very dismissive of people who are not very rich. Trickle down, like, oh yeah, we're going to just get uber rich and something might trickle down upon you, hopefully. Like we will, it's kind of like,
it sounds like you only get a few raindrops, like,
yeah, like we'll piss something upon you, right? If you're lucky, okay, maybe if you're lucky, maybe just like go like
oh my
this. Just maybe we'll drop something there. I don't know, maybe we will, maybe we won't. Okay, like maybe like we'll so yeah, the branding is bad.
Oh my god. Okay. I just can't. Okay. Gaijin, okay, I can answer this quickly. Oxymoron is saying, why do you think it's a non-functioning fountain and not a Shiva lingam? There's a context to this, which is basically there is a mosque in India that people are claiming is a Hindu temple because they have a fountain that looks like a Shiva lingam. Basically, the question is, why do you think it's a non-functioning fountain and not a Shiva lingam? I don't actually think that, because I haven't looked into the issue enough to actually know.
Wait, what's happening? There's a fountain that people are... Okay, so for people who don't know, Shiva lingam is this thing, is Shiva's penis, okay? Literally, okay? Well, not literally. People think literally is Shiva's penis, okay? And they worship it. And the problem is that a lot of things, in a lot of times, in India and other places, Hindus see phallus-shaped items and be like, that must have been a Shiva lingam, okay? And they go and decorate it and they touch it and they keep arousing Shiva without his consent, right? But so you're saying there's a new item that they have found that is potentially a Shiva lingam?
Yeah, so it's not just that you go put items on it and use it as part of ritual worship. Sometimes this is used to say, see, this is proof that this is actually a Hindu temple, and therefore we're basically going to be taking the rights to this religious space and building because we're claiming we have historical archaeological precedent over this site. In terms of this case that you're talking about, I can't remember exactly where in India this is located, but this is like, people are worried that this is going to be the Barbary Masjid 2.0 kind of situation. Like I said, I don't actually know enough about the facts of the matter to be able to say one way or another if it is a fountain or a Shiva lingam. I'm usually just describing what I understand about the event so far, which is that some people say it's a fountain, some people say it's a Shiva lingam. I don't know which is true. I think
every Shiva lingam needs to turn into a fountain. Now that I think about it, like, shouldn't it like be like?
It's really a missed opportunity that Shiva lingams are not already fountains.
Yeah,
it's a huge missed opportunity.
Yeah, how can I refer to it? The CUM shot. Okay. That's basically because it's supposed to be a penis. So, wow, I actually found one that they made it into a fountain. They did make one into a fountain.
Hell
yeah. This is a Shiva lingam that is turned into a fountain. See, this is fantastic. That actually makes it more like a penis.
This is what I'm talking about.
Also, the base is supposed to be a vagina. So this is, for people who don't know, Shiva was cursed by a whole bunch of sages because he was like displaying his own penis to their wives, and she was
and they were
penis.
into it.
Oh yeah, it's no half of them. The
Okay.
sages' wives, some of them were like, "Oh my god, this is amazing," and some of them were like afraid. Okay, like some of them were like, "This is the best thing we've ever seen in our lives," right? But the sages did not appreciate that, and they cursed Shiva, not knowing who Shiva was. They cursed them, and his penis falls on the ground. And once his penis falls on the ground, it starts like inflaming the whole world, like
destroying the earth.
They're destroying your earth, like the whole world was going to burn from Shiva's, and that's why. Who comes? Parvati, right? She comes and she either turns into a vagina or her vagina covers Shiva's penis, and that creates the Shiva lingam. And that's basically this is what you're looking at, right? And this is the base is the vagina, Parvati's vagina, and the top is Shiva's penis, right? And people worship this, by the way. And they pour milk on it. But when they pour a lot of milk, and a lot of people associate that with mention how wasteful that is, right? By the way, this lady is like rubbing Parvati's clit here, isn't she?
Shut up! I can't take you.
No, look, that's exactly what she's doing. Because I always see like people rubbing Shiva's penis. I never like that. Like I never see people actually paying attention to the. This is the first time somebody is actually like stimulating Parvati instead of Shiva. Like usually Shiva gets that.
Isn't that just how it is?
Yeah. Good job, lady. Thank you. Finally somebody. Look, that's exactly what she's doing. Is it not?
You know, I think you might be right.
Yeah, okay. This is actually kind of sexy. I should stop looking at this. Okay.
Oh my god. This might break terms of service. Okay. Higgs Boson is asking, what will China do if Pelosi goes to Taiwan? And Gasian American actually replied to him in the comments on our Patreon page and basically said, nothing, maybe some grandstanding, arrest a few Americans living in China on trumped up charges, actual military action, not likely. What do you think?
What? Well, yeah, I mean,
they'll make some big statements, wolf warrior, diplomacy, yada, yada, like.
Yeah, but things are escalating, things are escalating. Like Democrats are like becoming very aggressive in their Taiwan support. Like Biden came out and like, yeah, we might take military action. And then people are like, wait, what happened to what happened to strategic ambiguity, right? And actually, I think this is very clever of the Biden administration, because then a lot of people came out like, he didn't mean that, okay? And then Biden came out like, yeah, I did. Like Biden is upset with his own administration because they keep saying that he didn't mean the things that he said, and Biden comes out and I'm like, you're my administration. I tell you what I'm saying. You don't tell me what I'm saying, okay? But it looks chaotic. It looks like Biden is moving away from this, because for people who don't know, over the Taiwan, United States has a strategic ambiguity policy, right? Because they don't want to commit to militarily supporting Taiwan if there is an attack, but they also don't want to suggest that they won't. So, so to reduce the cost, but also on their behalf militarily, but also to reduce the chances of China attacking Taiwan, because China would be like, well, I don't know, they might
never let them know your next move.
That's exactly the policy, right? So given that China is becoming more aggressive, but I think it makes sense for Pelosi and Biden to come out and be more aggressive. And I don't think they're violating the strategic ambiguity, because people are looking at this and like, okay, Biden is saying something and the administration is like trying to correct him. So it's still ambiguous, but in a more aggressive direction. It's still ambiguous, right? They're not like, it's still becoming a more aggressive side of ambiguous, right? And China coming and claiming that, oh, we're going to escalate this and it could take military action, and them doing nothing just creates a new normal, right? Like, and Pelosi just going out, and because for people who don't understand, like, why is this such a big deal? Pelosi goes to Taiwan because they're treating it as if it's a country. Okay, when you talk to Taiwan's officials and have relationships with them and do trade deals with them, and you're not going through the China to do with Taiwan, like you're basically treating it as an independent country, and that's why this is so controversial for China, right? But when like China comes and like, I'm gonna take action, and then nothing happens, then a new norm has been set by the United States that these things are acceptable. You know what I mean? So we'll see if China can do anything about it. My guess is that I don't think they can. Also, China is kind of like terrified because they've seen that over Ukraine, like the West seemed to be turning on itself, right? Especially because of Trump. Like they seem to be not united over anything. And we're like, okay, the world liberal order is a joke. NATO is a joke. You know, the Europe-US alliance is a joke. People are like, okay, this whole thing is breaking apart. It's time for China and Russia to rise. But then Ukraine put them all back together again, right? They're like, Ukraine, they should like, we're like stronger than ever, okay? And now all of these institutions matter a lot more than before. And China is like, that's just Ukraine. I mean, no offense to Ukraine, but Ukraine is not as significant of a country as Taiwan, okay? Ukraine is like
that's objectively true.
Yeah, that's like a really poor country. And it's like strategically, Taiwan as a country matters a lot more to the world liberal order, than Ukraine. Okay, so if they did this for Ukraine, imagine what they would do for Taiwan. Okay, so I mean, some people say they would do less because China is stronger than Russia, but still, China has to like, okay, recalculating, like, so that's what's happening with China right now.
Good analysis. Gation American is asking, should the United States incorporate Spanish, Cherokee, Hawaiian, African American vernacular English, or Inuit bilingualism into our legal language and bureaucracy?
No. What? Why?
Short answer would be no. I appreciate the inclusion, but we should be dealing with this as a matter of percentage of the population and their proficiency with a given language. So if anything, if second languages are going to be incorporated into state legislator or any sort of materials by the government, it should be done just considering the needs of the local population. So here in San Francisco, when I get voter packets, alerts from Public Works or all these things, or the notifications on the bus, they are in English, Chinese, Spanish, Tagalog, Japanese. Yeah, I think that's it. But that makes sense because of the population that we have here. We genuinely need people. We have street signs that are in Japanese here, so it should be just determined on the needs of any given local population.
Okay, it makes sense to include multiple languages because of the population of the people that live there. Okay, it doesn't make sense to make it officially the language of the of USA.
Of the country? No, not at all.
Yeah, I think that's what's being asked here. Isn't that what's being asked here? I'm all for making people feel more at ease because they can read stuff in their own native language, okay? But I'm not for like adding official languages to the official language of the country. That is just like, it would create a mess, all right? That would create hierarchies of people. It will separate people. You want a system where people. Yeah, you want a system where people can communicate with each other, and people can reach out to each other. You want to be able to create a network of, and especially if you already have one official language. Like in countries that will have 2 or 3 official language, it would have been more ideal for them if they had one official language, but the country was already had too high of a population of multiple languages for that to be inconvenient to just force one language upon them, right? But even the countries that have
goes badly when you do force one language.
Yeah, it would be too difficult to enforce one language, so you would have 2 or 3 official languages. But obviously, in those countries, it would have, if it was possible, it would have been more convenient if they had one official language. So if you're already there, why would you go backwards? It doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
If we ever did have a second language, it should definitely be Spanish. Anything else would just be stupid.
It would be bad for Spanish people. if you had a Spanish official language, because you want them, because it would make it easier not to learn English, which would make it harder for them to get employed and have access to all the things the United States has to offer. You know what I mean? Like
No,
you're
I completely
creating.
understand. I know. I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I know.
Based.
I know, but that's a good example. If you add Spanish as an official language to United States, you're helping segregating different blocks of America. You know what I mean? You're creating two Americas, two United States, right? You're separating people from each other. You want to encourage people learning the same language so they could communicate with each other, so they could mingle, they could mix with each other, and potential and best outcome, having sex with each other and making babies. Okay, like the best, exchange fluids. So it's the best way of this, breaking walls and barriers. Have babies with each other. Okay. Yeah.
If you know that universal language, picking up a new
Yes.
language happens. It's pretty easy.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Follow-up question, Asian American is asking, is the bilingualism of the Canadian government classist, as not all can afford French classes? I'm pretty sure, isn't French like almost compulsory in most...
Okay, you don't need to learn French if you're in Canada. Okay, you just have to be, you just are annoyed by it, mildly annoyed that, because, okay, so if you were like in British Columbia, you will be fine not knowing French. Okay, in fact, you would be better off knowing French, because you will come off as like, never mind, I'm not going to get into this. So like, okay, so French was forced upon the rest of Canada for no good reason, okay, because there's not that many French people living in anywhere other than Quebec. And even though 99%, okay, I'm not making numbers up, the vast majority of people don't speak French, why would you? Obviously, you don't need to know French if you live in British Columbia. You will go through life without noticing any inconveniences not knowing French, okay, in British Columbia or in Toronto or anywhere outside of Quebec, okay. The only thing is that for some reason, even though this entire province doesn't speak French, every time you call any bank or telephone company, you have to listen in everything in English and French. Like, dude, nobody speaks French here. Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me? Or if you go to the post office, they say, well, I mean, actually, they ask you if you want to everything. It's just mildly annoying. Okay, but it's not. You don't need to know. It's not. Yeah.
Is it classist though?
Why is it classist?
I don't understand that.
I think if it's anything is classist, it would be the Quebecans who would be claiming that things are classist and against them, because they were like, it's assumed like this whole Anglican culture and language and everything is forced
the Anglican
upon them.
hegemon.
Yeah, like, okay, so like, for example, in Toronto or in Vancouver, if you speak French, people wouldn't be like if you don't know English, if you speak French, people wouldn't be like rolling their eyes at you. But if you go to Quebec and there are people there that if you speak English to them, they're like, no, like I'm gonna speak French aggressively back to you, like, get this English language out of here, like, like, I don't know, like, not that many people are like that, but I'm just saying, like, or if you try to speak French, they will roll their eyes at you. I mean, it was like that. Maybe I'm exaggerating, okay, but I'm just saying that there are more people in Quebec annoyed about the English culture than people in the English-speaking part of Canada annoyed. Actually, I kind of disproved what I just said, because I just said that I was annoyed by French-speaking services and stuff, right? But that is just because they're actually forcing us down our throats, and they're just annoyed that we just, like, the rest of Canada just exists. Anyways, I'm just anti-French. I don't know if you noticed that. Okay, they just think they're superior. They're the classist ones. Okay, they just think they just because they're French speaking, they have the superior culture, and everyone, the English speaking people are just like beneath them. Okay, so it's classist in the opposite direction. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Okay.
D is actually from Quebec.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so next question is from Asian American. Should indigenous nations in Turtle Island, aka North America, be allowed to make treaties with foreign nations, such as the People's Republic of, not the Congo, People's Republic of China, or the European Union, or is that a security risk we cannot allow?
I don't understand this question. Can you explain?
So, I don't know what it's like in Canada, but in America, tribes have reservations, and that is technically supposed to be treated like a sovereign nation. There's lots of complicated treaties and laws and jurisdictional issues that are
I don't think we have enough information to ask. I don't know.
Yeah. Like tribal law seems like such a complicated mess. Like I don't even know if that's on the table for something that could happen anyways.
All right, well, Asian American, why are you asking us questions that we have no, like, are not, like, why are you taking us out of the Middle East and India and China to these little things that we have no clue? Like, we have no clue. Why are you asking us about this? Like, you know what we know. Why are you asking us things that we don't know? I don't understand. Why do you do this to us, Asian American? Next question. I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Next question. Where did it go? Okay, it's from Oxymoron. So the context for this question is referring to a journalist who was arrested basically for blasphemy and then hit with other charges he has a Muslim background in India. So Oxymoron is asking, Zubair, knowing perfectly well what the Indian Islamist mob does to people who violate the character of the Prophet, painted a target on Nupur Sharma by posting the trimmed, decontextualized video under the blasphemy tag. Previously, Mr. Zubair has called out people for blasphemy, and the mob has attempted to kill every single target that he painted. Do you think it's unfair to investigate his role of dog whistling from an attempted murder point of view? So do you think Mohammed Zubair posting a clip of a TV debate in which Nupur Sharma supposedly blasphemed the Prophet, could that be considered attempted murder or attempt to murder?
Are you joking? No. What the hell? Like, if that was your standard for getting somebody charged for attempted murder, like, there would be hundreds of thousands of people right now that should be, including us, Susie, that should be arrested for attempted murder. In fact, like, we posted things that could have been interpreted that way previously, like, because he just posted a video of them. Like, Zubair just posted a video.
Just pointing out what someone is saying. Yeah.
Just pointing out what someone... In fact, Oxymoron, this question itself, by your standard, posting this question itself could be considered attempted murder.
Of who?
Of people who are against Zubair, right? Like, by suggesting that Zubair was posted that video could lead to people hating what's her name, Nupur Sharma enough to want to murder her, then I would say that these kind of conspiracy theories are also leading to some people wanting to commit violence against Zubair. And by spreading that, you are feeding into that, and by spreading that idea, you are dog whistling, which could be considered a form of attempted murder. But I'm not saying this is true. I'm just saying, look at where your standards get you. Okay.
Yeah.
In fact, what I just said is also could be considered dog whistling against you, Oxymoron. What I just said, okay, might have been dog whistling, and I could be charged for attempted murder based on these ridiculous standards that you're setting right now. So we should all be arrested. And look at Susanna also for her confirmation of going, Okay, everybody.
We're all getting arrested.
Everybody get arrested. Like, I don't understand.
To be clear, I don't actually know how much truth there is in you saying that there is a pattern of him pointing out people and then there being attempted murder. So I'm going to take that with a degree of skepticism. But Armin, let's say it was true. Let's say it was clear, like bona fide, crystal clear, that there is a pattern that when this journalist calls out someone on his Twitter for blasphemy against the prophet, that very clearly there will be violence against that person.
But she said it on TV. Like, I mean, it was already public.
You have a good point.
It was already on TV. Like, are we supposed to be like, shh, shh, guys? If we talk about what just happened, we're like, well, like it was there. It was like, how could you not talk about it? It just happened. Like, we covered the news over like blasphemy cases. Should we stop covering them? In fact, should we stop talking right now? Like, we're bringing more attention to this.
Actually, you're right. We should shut up.
Okay, so like D is saying, I disagree. He posted real news. Higgs Boson is saying, Armin, he did more than just posting TV debate. What else did he do? Somebody else is saying Zubair already addressed the blasphemy thing in his recent interview with News Laundry. Oh, we should watch that.
I gotta go read that.
Okay, so Oxymoron is clarifying, saying no, he trimmed and decontextualized the video.
He didn't he just took a clip of it. It wasn't like he modified it though.
Yeah, but I mean, that's just such a loose standard. Like,
I know, even if you watch it, I don't know. I feel like the context is pretty clear because she's talking about the Shiva Lingam. Like,
how did she? Okay, first of all, people know what happened. Okay, like he took out the part that was the most significant. That's not it's not like people don't know what the context is. Like, and the people who have an issue with it, they're not gonna have less of an issue with it. Like, we're talking about people butthurt over blasphemy. Do you think they're gonna be like, oh, okay, we see the context right now. Okay,
you have a good point. That's a good point.
Carry on.
That's all it took. Actually, we're fine now.
Like, oh, no. She insulted our prophet. Oh, you're saying that she did it in reaction to that other person attacking her religion?
Oh, you're
right.
You're right.
We're cool now.
My bad.
Carry on. Attack Muhammad as you wish. Is that what you're saying? Like, what are you talking about? Oh my god. Oh, Oxymoron is actually providing a very important context. He's saying, also, he's not a journalist. Well, off with his head then. I don't know why didn't you tell us earlier? Hey, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. By the way, you too.
Please forgive my sins.
Yeah. All right.
So let's go to the next question from Asian American, which is thoughts on the power of secular/civic ceremonies. Should there be more or less of them in America or Canada?
Thoughts on power of secular civic ceremonies.
I mean, okay, it'd be cool if someone getting married but not in a church.
Oh yes. In fact, this should be the main way of doing all of the ceremonies. And well, I mean,
there's no way to make that happen besides just like it becoming more popular over time.
Or you could also secularize the religious ones, right? Just like
that's true.
If you could like do with everything religion what you did with Christmas, I'm the future I see is the future where people, less people go to church, but also a lot of people who go to church go there because they just enjoy the vibes. Like they're like, this is pretty, just look nice here, okay? Like they're like, do you believe in God? Like, no. Like, why are you here? Like, it's nice, all right. So I think like you don't have to just you could have alternative secular ceremonies, but you could also have religious ceremonies that have been completely defanged and secularized, just like Christmas. Yeah,
good point.
Isn't everything better when it's secularized? Like, look at how much more Christmas is such a more, the Christmas vibe is a lot more enjoyable to more people because of Jesus being taken out of it. More Santa, less Jesus.
I like that. More Santa. No. Asian American is asking, The rising sun flag is the official flag of the Japanese Navy. South Korea says the flag is a supremacist flag from World War II. Japan claims that it is their heritage. Should South Korea swallow the bitter pill and run war games with Japan, or should Japan change their flag? So the difference between the flags is that the Japanese flag that we have today is just white with a red circle in the middle, which represents the sun. But this imperial flag is one that has the red circle in the center, but there's red rays coming out of it. So like the sun is expanding outwards. Exactly. So
that looks very fascisty to me. Is it just me? I don't know. For some reason, the more red I see, the more fascisty it feels.
I understand why you get that feeling. Yeah. Well, it's kind of like the extending tentacles of the sun, right? The expansion of it. It is very imperial. Don't highlight that right now, Armin. Are you crazy?
No, that's allowed. YouTube doesn't care about that.
Okay. I don't know. Is South Korea playing war games simply over the flag? It must be other stuff as well, right? I mean, Japan is kind of making like a what was the state that had the Confederate flag as their state flag? Shoot, why can't I remember this? Was it Mississippi? Whatever, whichever American state still kept the Confederate flag as their state flag until like 2 years ago, I think.
Okay, so I don't know why people. Oh wow, some people are burning it. Where is this? I don't know, guys. Like, I just whatever it takes for South Korea and Japan and Australia and India and who else? Philippines, Taiwan, Indonesia, whatever it takes for you guys to get your act together and create some unity in that region against the dominance of China over the Pacific. Like, I don't know, just figure, like, what do you think? Like you guys, like, China is, like, it's kind of like Game of Thrones, okay? Like, there is, like, a dead army arriving, okay? I'm talking about the CCP, not about Chinese people, okay? And people are talking about who's going to end up on the throne. You know what I mean? Like, people talking about little, small, insignificant things over being angry with each other, whereas there's this much, much more important thing.
A huge threat is lurking in the north.
In the horizon, right? Like that you all need to get your act together and make sure they're united. Like, have a strong. Like, is this really what you need? What you're worried about? I don't know. Do you think I'm being like? Is this one side should concede?
No, I think you have a point.
Yeah. I think one side should concede. Like, I don't care. Either Japan should decide that, okay, fine, we'll get rid of this. I don't know which one, or South Korea should be like, okay, fine, I guess I'm gonna act like this is not like a fascist symbol. Okay, like, I don't know who, but like, come on, guys, you're like first world countries. You're part of the big boys club. This is history. Okay, I mean, honestly, I will take more to South Korea's side, because Japan has had a history of ignoring its evil past. Actually, never mind. I changed my. Actually, you know what? I'm changing my stance right now. Okay, this would be like, Japan needs to act more like Germany. You know what I mean? Germany is a superpower, well, ish, and it's being shameful of its past and eradicating anything symbolically related to that as something that to celebrate has not made it any weaker. Okay, Japan hasn't even taken the first step in acknowledging that they did like horrible war crimes, right? Like, it's not even. I mean, the past is the past, but part of making the past in the past is to acknowledge that was horrible. Okay, you can't just like ignore all of that history and just move on. And Japan is trying to do that. Germany is not doing that. Germany is going maybe a little bit too far in being shameful. Okay, like, so much so that they were like, yeah, we don't want an army that's strong because we can't be trusted. Like, we might go, like, we might invade Poland. I don't know. Please don't give us an army. No,
on accident. I'm scared of myself now.
I don't know.
I might sneeze and fall into Austria. I don't know.
Right. So they did it. I mean, they did it too. Now they're changing their stance because of Ukraine. Thank you, Putin. But again, they're a strong country. So Japan just like make Germany your role model. Just be like, accept your horrible past. I mean, they don't. They're even denying. Like it would be as if like German officials were denying the big edge. Okay, we're not saying it
We're
here
like
because YouTube.
waffling over the details, instead of just taking the first step of acknowledging that this happened and it was bad.
Yeah. So maybe I don't know how significant was this flag, a symbol of the what the Koreans are saying it is.
Oh yeah,
But
I would say yes.
Yes. Okay. Then I'll take South Korea side. I'm officially
Yeah.
on South Korea side. Okay.
I mean, if there was a part of the German army that still had a flag with a swastika on it, yeah, if the German Navy, well, they're landlocked. I guess they probably don't have one. Anyways,
Well, somebody in the live
that
chat.
would be outrageous.
Somebody in the live chat is saying, "How is multiculturalism working out for Germany?" A lot better than what you think.
A lot better than how Japan is handling things. That's for sure.
Germany is actually benefiting from it. You might be getting tailorly made right wing media made for you to make it seem like everything is crumbling in Germany because of it, but Germany actually right now needs more immigration, not less of it. So I'm sorry that you live in a right-leaning bubble that thinks that it's otherwise, but Germany is Germany is benefiting from its multicultural, and for they like in the recent elections in Germany. If you like, people thought like, oh, the sky is falling in Germany because of all the immigrants they accepted, but it was a non-issue in the recent election. Not only that, the disagreements between the parties were like, how could we integrate the immigrants faster into the economy, and how we could bring more immigrants, not less of them. And because Germany actually needs it right now so badly, it has been a blessing upon Germany, not a curse.
Okay, so let's go to the next question. So Higgs Boson is asking, I really like desserts, milkshakes, and sugary stuff. It's like an addiction. How do I keep my consumption in moderation, and are there any alternatives? Armin, this
Yes.
is your lane. Take it away.
Yeah. Okay. So just replace them with your own made home desserts with artificial sweeteners, right? So there are so many good artificial sweeteners, and unlike what a lot of YouTube channels say, they're not cancerous, they're not harmful. In fact, if they could, sugar is extremely harmful. So if they could get you off sugar, they are actually very beneficial for your health. Okay. Drink a lot of Coke Zero or Diet Coke to, and also make your own desserts. There are a lot of recipes that you could use with skim milk and a whole bunch of alternatives. You can make your own cookies, you can make your own cakes, all using artificial sweeteners. And just try to eat a lot of those anytime you have a sugar craving, so that you don't end up eating anything sugar. And also, anytime you want, anytime you even your own made homemade desserts with artificial sweeteners, before you start eating them, have like a bowl of salad and then go to the dessert so that you eat less of it, right? Also, yeah, there's so many good YouTube recipes like for things with artificial sweeteners. You could use like um, almond flour and egg whites and sweeteners. And you could also buy there are really cheap ice cream machines that you could make your own ice cream at home, right? You could just fill it up with some milk and some fruits and artificial sweeteners, skim milk preferably, and then you will have your own really, really sweet, really low calorie ice cream at home, right? Okay, PK is saying I drink fruit juices as an alternative. You're insane. That's horrible. That's just like fruit juices are one of the most unhealthiest drinks that you could have. They're just like glasses of sugar, basically. You're drinking glasses of sugar. What do you think that's a good alternative? Guys, fruit juices are not healthy. It's a lie. Fruit juices are very bad for you. They're just like empty calories. There are a few things that are as harmful as sugar, and fruit juices are just filled with sugar. Fruit juices are basically taking amazing things, which are fruits, right? Removing all the fiber, all the goodness, okay, and just removing everything that is harmful and drinking it and not getting filled by it. Right? You're just taking in calories without actually filling you up. Like you're basically like, hey, the fiber that was supposed to be the filling part, you're just throwing away and you're just drinking the sugar. It's a horrible idea. No, PK is saying better than cake though. No, it's not PK because it's basically better than Coke. Better than Coke. No, it's not. It's as sugary as fruit juices are as sugary as Coke. They're just glasses of sugar. In fact, with Coke, you could at least get Coke Zero, which is like 0 calories. And PK saying homemade, not from store. Doesn't matter. You're squeezing the juice out. You're throwing away the fiber. It's just glasses of sugar. You're getting the sugar from the fruit and you're just drinking it. It's empty calories. They're horrible.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go to the next question. Oh shoot, what's happening? Okay. Okay.
This is one of those examples where natural is bad and artificial is good. Okay. People are like, oh, it's natural. Well, guess what? The natural in this case is harmful because the natural means it has calories. Natural sugar means calories. Sugar is natural and it's horrible. Artificial sweeteners have no calories and that's good. Okay. Artificial is superior to natural in this case. But go on. Sorry.
Gage American is saying, in the year of Jesus, 1939, Pope Pius XII decreed that Confucian rites was compatible with Catholic teachings. Are the Chinese Catholics who worshipped their ancestors before this edict burning in the Abrahamic hell? It was banned by Pope Clement in the 11th century. No, Pope Clement the 11th in 1704. A J after Jesus. So I think, okay, there's been numerous instances in Catholic history where they suddenly changed rule and everyone that they said is in hell is suddenly like no longer in hell, or they like change their understanding about where they go after they die. So for a long time, it was believed that, I think it was like miscarriages, like all the fetuses from the miscarriages just are like stuck in purgatory, like in limbo for eternity. And then suddenly they decided to change that teaching within canon law. And I think it was in Christopher Hitchens and Stephen Fry's debate on Intelligence Squared about, is the Catholic Church a force for good? Go watch that if you guys haven't. Oh my gosh. Where I think it is Hitchens who points out the cruelty of the church simply waving away that teaching, where there have been like hundreds of millions of people who have suffered the pain of believing that this child who they hope to have will instead be stuck in this purgatory limbo for all of eternity, and like the cruelty of inflicting that on people. So all that to say that when the church changes their rulings on these things, I don't actually know what the standard is. I mean, I don't think it's, how do I say this? I don't think they have it as in, oh, you from this point in time, you're no longer in hell. I think they would take more of a stance of, oh, actually, it was always this way, but now we just understand it to be this new ruling that we've made. So they were never actually in hell. We just misunderstood. Like, I think that's more of the stance that they take. Although people who have a much more in-depth knowledge about how the Catholic Church handles this kind of thing would be able to answer that more accurately.
How does that go with the Pope's infallibility?
So it's not necessary. you know,
That's
brother
exactly how I
asks a
feel.
very good question. Actually, like my brain stopped for a second. I was like, actually, how does it go? I know that there's an explanation in the way that they get around it, but when you step back and actually, how does that make sense? How is that not a contradiction? You're right.
Let us know in the comments if you know.
Yeah. Okay, so Asian American is asking thoughts on a Maoist resurgence in the People's Republic in China due to economic downturn, and Xi playing into returning to Maoist roots in removing the crony capitalists from power. I don't think that this is very likely. Armin, what do you think? Xi Jinping will be swayed into returning to the roots of communism?
I think it's such a perfect scapegoat, right? People are losing. So for people who don't know, there's a run on the banks in China, right? People are not paying their mortgages. People are realizing that their investments in real estate might be worth less than nothing in some cases, right? And people are panicking, and the Chinese market bubble might be bursting soon. I don't know, right? Or might just deflate, but people are trying to point at something to blame, and the CCP wants to make sure that it's not being pointed at it, right? So, and a lot of people protesting, which is weird for China for people to be protesting. It makes sense for them to not direct that protest against the central government, but to point it to local government, just so that it's tolerated, and also to come out be like and have posters of like, if Mao was here, this wouldn't have happened, because this will show loyalty to the foundations of China in a way to be like it's not the Chinese the you know this the central government is not the baddie, and the people are not the baddie. So the central government and the people could unite in pointing the finger at you know business people or the local government as a way to save the centralized government from being blamed. So it's perfect. It's a
Oh, it's a
way.
good face saving tactic.
It's a good face save, yeah.
Oh my goodness, you're right. I
But
didn't think about it like that.
yeah, it's also reminds me of Islamic fundamentalism after the fall of the last caliph, from when Ataturk came into power, right? So when Ataturk came into power in Turkey, it was pretty obvious. It was already clear, but it became even more clear that the Islamic world is in absolute decline, and the
Mm-hmm.
glory days are not coming back. You know what I mean? Like the West versus East battle has been over. The West is superior. The Islamic world is backwards and outdated and fallen behind. And given that the Sunni ideology was meant to show that we are in power because God on our side, a lot of Muslims had to decide, why are we so weak and pathetic, right?
Mm.
So there was two, and this is what brings me back to China. So there was two responses to that. There were Muslims who were like, we need to copy them. They obviously have to figure it out, right? Like let's modernize, let's reform. There was a lot of Islamic reforms coming out at that time, and people were like, let's do science, maybe let's do secularism, let's even dress up like them, Ataturk as Reza Shah was like, let's just like look exactly what they're doing and copy every single move, because they seem to be figured it out, right? And a lot of scholarly reformist Muslims were like, yeah, this is all according to Islam anyways. Like Muhammad would have right?
We called this anyways.
Yes, right. And like this is exactly what Muhammad intended anyways, right? Like, okay, sure. And there were some people who were like doing this Maoist resurgence kind of thing. You were like, the reason why everything is going to shit is because we have stirred away from true Islam. Like we forgot the Quran and the Hadith, and we need to go back. Like some Muslims are like, we need to move forward and become more like Westerners, and some Muslims were like, we need to actually go back and look at our origins, because when we used to be better Muslims, we were in power. Like when Islam was more serious, we were dominating the world. We went away from that, and that's why we're weak. That's why Allah is not on our side, right? So usually when things are not good, you have, this is not true with Islam. This is not just true with Islam. You have two branches. You have a pragmatic reaction, and you have a fundamentalist radical reaction, right? That one that wants to move forward and change things, and the other one that wants to go back to its roots.
That's actually true when societies are less stable. That you can see this across cultures, across times. When societies are less stable, when material goods are less secure, there is a return to religious fundamentalism. Or fundamentalism, yeah.
This is how the Muslim Brotherhood came into being before they were actually pro-democracy, right? But I guess like this is what you're saying in China. So things in China are not working the way that they should. So we're gonna see who's gonna have the upper hand in coming up with the solution, right? Are people, if things start breaking in China, are the people who are gonna look at this failure who are like, okay, we need more capitalism. We were doing China's growth in the past couple of years is because they opened up to the world, right? And now things are slowing down, and is China going to look at this and be like, okay, the reason why things are slowing down is because we're going back to trying to control the markets. Maybe we should go more capitalist and open the markets, or is a Maoist resurgence going to happen? So exactly like in the Islamic world, where there's two fractions, pragmatic ones or radical ones, in China, is the resurgence going back? When things break, are people going to go back, or are going to look at this break as an opportunity to open up more human rights, more democratic values, more free markets, or going back to Mao? We'll see.
Okay, so next question is also from Geisha American. He is asking, the Tarim is an endorheic basin, meaning the water cannot leave the basin into the ocean. Does China have the right to harvest space glaciers and place them into the basin to encourage agricultural output? Or should they seek United Nations approval? How do you get a space glacier?
Okay, I don't know about space glaciers. I'm just worried about what China is doing on the dark side of the moon. Have you heard about this? I think space is turning. No, like seriously, I'm not kidding. They're like they seem to be wanting to take over the dark side of the moon. Like this is not a joke.
It's so crazy.
Yeah. So, okay.
Taking over the moon? That sounds like something from a cartoon.
Okay.
They're taking over the dark side of the moon.
Okay, let me explain.
They're gonna hide lasers back there. They can blow up everything. Like what?
They're making satellites that has arms that can take over other satellites. That's what China's doing.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they tested one. Okay, so space exploration, ever since the end of Cold War, was supposed to be this place that was a model for how science and technology could be bringing us together. Okay, because here on Earth, people were like tribal and fighting over politics or race or ethnicity or whatever or religion, right? But it seemed like when scientists and astronauts left Earth, none of this mattered. Even countries that were against each other, there seemed to be this like the space, like work with each other, like the scientists who were like, there was this open platform of exchange and cooperation between the Chinese and the Americans and the Russians and the Indians and everyone up there. She'd be like, we scientists and we astronauts and people who are interested in making more giant leaps for mankind, we're above all this. Not just not just literally, but also figuratively. This is Earth stuff. Here in space, we work with each other. Okay, none of your politics matters here. That's what the attitude. The beautiful thing about people looked at like this space station, and they looked at like even when there were like hostile things between politicians happening on here back on Earth, people were like they didn't care. They were working. Russians and Americans were working with each other as if none of this was happening, and people. So many people were inspired by that. People are like, this is what science is, right? This is what science can bring to mankind. Now that's changing, okay? And especially because China, okay? The tribal political nonsense is entering space exploration, right? And that came into a peak when we realized that China was building satellites with arms. And they there was one satellite that they actually tested, like they went out of orbit in a place where people couldn't see, right? Like and it was dark, like people couldn't see with a telescope. And they tested, like there was another satellite that was, I think, out of order, like was not being used anymore. And they tested taking that satellite and putting it into an orbit where nobody, like they remove it from its orbit and put it in an orbit where you put garbage in. Like there's another orbit where for garbage satellites, and they just tested if they could do that, right? And people were like, why? But they know, even though they were trying to do that in secret, people were like, why are you trying to do this? This seems like you're trying to, because China is worried. China is worried that the GPS that China relies on is not based on its own satellites, right? So if there's like ever a military attack happening, the United States could just be like, well, no GPS for you.
Oh
and
my God. That's
like
actually a huge problem.
Yeah, like they were like, how are you gonna attack Taiwan now? You don't have any GPS navigation like stuff, right? Like you're not even going to be able to target the places you want to target, right? So China is like, okay, we need our own, we need our own GPS system, right? But they're also not, so it makes sense for them why they want that, but they also want to be able to take out other people's systems if they are up there. But also, nobody can see what they're also doing is that they seem to be interested in doing stuff because people don't understand the dark side of the moon. Nobody has any clue what's going on there. Did you know that? Like, it's like completely invisible, like not completely, but it's like very invisible. So it seems like China is very interested in getting on the moon because right now the world's understanding is that, okay, the moon does not belong to any specific country. Okay, this is the standard. Okay, but China's eagerness seems to suggest that they're going to eventually say that, no, we showed up here first, so this is ours, right? Just like they did with their island building and stuff like that, right? So they might do that with the moon, and especially at the part of the moon that nobody can see, right? And people are worried. Oh, Apostle Prophet is here.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Hey, is that the real AP? Can somebody verify?
If I go on YouTube, I can check really quickly.
Okay, wait.
You never know when it comes
so wait, let me answer this question and then go to AP. So it says, does China have the right to harvest space glaciers and place them in the base? No, okay, so again, keep this. I don't know I don't know if the UN, I don't think the UN is the institution. I don't think we have any institutions that is supposed to standardize these things, but there should be. The space should not be cut into pieces based on countries that we have right now. It should be a whole different system. I think like the UN doesn't have any jurisdiction over space. I don't think we have yet made anything that you could go to resolve these things. So that's a problem. And I think China wants to move fast before we actually come up with standards for it. But we need standards for this very fast. Anyways,
this is the real AP. This is
the
real Apostle Prophet.
And AP is also saying, I think it is the real. That's funny. Okay, so what is AP saying? Hey, AP, that's so nice. You haven't been here for a while. We missed you.
He's asking, why do you guys not believe in witchcraft when it's obviously true? Are you demon possessed?
Why do you assume that we don't believe in witchcraft? How did you even ask us if you believe in witchcraft? And also, AP is also saying in the live chat, is saying space and the moon belong to Allah. True. Yeah. Did you know, Susie, that a lot of Muslims, when I was in Iran, we had a lot of pictures of the moon showing us in class where it shows evidence that it was cut in half. They're like, this is something NASA has discovered, and they're keeping it hidden because they will.
Shut up!
No, seriously. No. We had like pictures, and we're like, look,
In
this
school?
is the exact in school. Like, they look, this is NASA has had these pictures, but they're hiding it because they don't want people to know that the moon was actually cut in half. This is evidence, like that.
Oh my God! I thought you were gonna say that Khomeini's face was in the moon, because I know that was a thing that people genuinely believed.
No, that was just a temporary. Like, that was just like a few years, but then they stopped. I mean, not even a few years, just 1 year, maybe. I don't know. AP in the lecture.
Yeah. Actually, never mind. AP is saying that's a miracle, Muhammad. Miracle fulfilled. You have photos.
Yeah. I should send a link to AP after we're done with Patreon questions if he wants to come up here. AP, would you be interested in come after we're done with the Patreon questions to come live on air? Let me know in the live chat. That would be fun.
Well, this is actually the portion of the show where I have to say goodbye.
Okay.
We have a few more Patreon questions, but so some of them came with like extra sources, and I was thinking we could move those to next week when both of us have the time to actually look into what they're referring to.
Okay.
What do you think?
Oh, wait, you want to do it later? Oh, AP is going to sleep. AP, would you be interested in coming on later? Like, just chilling out, having fun, talking? Like, maybe now you could go to sleep now, but maybe like would you be interested in having a show like that? Just like chilling, just talking about random stuff.
Hangout
Let
show.
me see if yeah, now that I have him here, maybe I could get him to come on. Oh, somebody is saying, no, this woman is too beautiful to leave.
Well, thank you.
Oh, guys, I got confirmation. AP is saying definitely on a different day of our Lord. Okay, that's great. Guys, got the confirmation. Fantastic. Thank you, AP. Good sleep. Good night. Say hi to your family.
Oh, true. So Armin, what do you think we should do with these other questions that have like references and sources?
You want to do it when?
We could there's only 4 that have the additional sources. We can move those to next week, so we can answer them in full.
Okay. Then I will post a link. Hold on. Let me just I will post a link for you guys to come up on the community tab, but only for our YouTube members. If you're a YouTube member, if you're interested in coming live on air, I'm posting a link to come join me now. Hold on. Come join us.
Okay.
Live. All right.
So if you are Oxymoron or Gation American or Higgs Boson, the questions that you asked that you had additional sources for, we will move those to next week when I have more time and I can actually look through what you guys are pointing me to. And I made sure to save those so we can remember to put them next week. Okay, cool.
All right, guys. Actually, I could answer one of them if you want. Well, I'll just hang out with the live chat if nobody comes up. So the YouTube member link is posted, but I'll just answer some live chat questions like this one. So you could go, Susie. I'll take care of these.
There's one more Patreon question that doesn't have the source. Okay. But yes, thank you for a fantastic show, everyone. I will see you on the news show in 2 days. So no, 3 days. So make sure to tune in. We have a juicy show this week. So make sure to tune in. I'm very excited. And I will see everyone soon.
All right. Bye, Suze.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Let's look at these 2 more questions and maybe some live chat questions. And then if nobody comes up, then we could go. Robot is asking, since the live will start at 6 a.m. where I'm from, I'll try to ask my question early on here. Okay. When is the next voicemail video? I'm so looking forward to it. I'll check literally every day. Well, we just released one. Very. We did release one very recently. Look at this. Here, I don't know. We just did that. Guys, if you want, so for people who don't know, we have voicemails, right? So you guys leave us voicemails and we turn them into podcasts and videos. And the last one was just posted 16 hours ago. So this is, if you go to our video section, you can see it here. It says, this one was a collection of people who were Indians who were angry with our blasphemous art. So angry Indians react to blasphemous art, and they left us voicemails. And if you want to go listen to their rant, you can do that. But anybody could leave a message. The link to leaving us a voicemail is in the description, and you basically get a chance to leave us a voicemail, and we have a podcast, and we turn it into a YouTube video, and we also release it on our podcast. And this is a good way for everybody who wants to just express their views or want to talk to other atheists around the world. We just give you the platform. You just click on the link. You don't have to name. You're free to leave your name, but you don't have to. You could just leave an audio message, and we'll take care of the rest. All right. Thank you, Robert, for giving me an opportunity to advertise that. All right. Let me see here. All right. So this is the last patron question for today. Asian American saying, should we amend property zoning law so that 9 people may get mortgage together to purchase a mansion? Wait, let me see this. Should we amend property zoning laws so that 9 people may get mortgage together to purchase a mansion? Also, is what I describe above communism. Okay, no, it's not communism. It's not communism when you allow more things. It's literally the opposite of communism. Communism, you allow less things. When you allow more things, that's like you're making more options available. You're making things more free. So that's the opposite. Okay, it seems like it's a good idea. I think I'm in favor of that. Like right now, it will. Why not? Like you're making it. The bank has to. If the bank can, instead of just checking the income and the available finances to someone to pay the mortgage, they're becoming more flexible by adding them all together. Yeah, I think that would be a good solution for housing. More people being able to put their resources together to apply for a mortgage rather than just looking at the finances of one person. Yeah, I think I would be in favor of that. That seems like, I don't know why that doesn't exist already. But again, like, I don't like it when people are like, oh, sharing. People are sharing things. Is that communism? No. When did communism? It's kind of like Islam. You know what I mean? Like Islam is like, or Christian religion. And like, oh, people are being like nice to each other. That's a religious thing, isn't it? Like, no, it's not. What are you talking about? When did religion took over everything that is wholesome, like acting like it belongs to it? Communism is like a fascist enforcement of the supply and demand and pricing on everything in the market, and they act like they're like, oh, we're just sharing things. Like, what are you talking about? You're stealing from people, and you're forcing an entire group of people to live based on calculations that is not natural to the market at all. This is stealing. This is not sharing. What does, like, people living together, people sharing? Like, if this is communism, then Uber would be communism, or like Airbnb would be communism. They're some of the greatest symbols of capitalism and shared economy would be communism. Like, communism is like hey, like people sharing things would not be. It's not communism. This is ridiculous. Anyways. Yeah, PK is single family zoning laws is literally the worst. Yeah, I see that. A lot of people say that. All right, so I'm gonna head out. Thank you guys for being here today. Thank you for the questions. Some of the questions we didn't answer, but Susie, usually when you provide resources, Susie, when she has time to look into them, She does a really good job in coming up with a lot of details. So those questions that required a little bit more research, we're gonna get back to that next week. But again, guys, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the bell notification, make sure you subscribe. We're going to be covering the news in 3 days, and that's going to be very interesting. So make sure you subscribe. Anyways, I'm going to head out. Thank you, guys. Love you all. Well, I don't love you. I like you very much. Thank you for being here. Iblis blessings be upon you, and peace out. Bye.